All right, so this week we're diving into a really powerful piece called The Republic of Shawarma and Shadows. And let me tell you, it paints a pretty vivid and challenging picture of a nation that's standing at a major crossroads.
And right off the bat, the source hits you with its central idea, its main metaphor, and it's a provocative one that really sets the stage for everything else. Imagine this, a country where progress, at least what you see on the surface, is measured by the sizzle of a shawarma grill. So that leads to the big question the source wants us to wrestle with. If shawarma is the symbol of development, what on earth does that actually mean? Well, the argument here is that this intense focus on consumerism, on the shiny new things, is actually masking a much, much deeper crisis in the services that really matter.
To really get it, you have to understand this fundamental paradox at the very heart of the story. You have a nation with just immense natural wealth. We're talking tons of oil. But that wealth exists right alongside widespread poverty and what the text calls the blatant plunder of its own resources.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It shows you the core argument in black and white. On one side, you have progress being measured by gleaming new malls, fancy restaurants, and trendy cafes. But on the other side, the things that are traditionally the bedrock of a healthy society, schools, hospitals, research labs, are just falling apart. The source argues that the whole national conversation is stuck on one side of this chart, while the other side is just tragically being left to rot.
So what does this all add up to? Well, the source calls it an illusion of progress. It's a reality that's defined by these jarring and, honestly, deeply revealing contrasts.
And this is where it gets really specific and hits home. The source gives us these stark, side-by-side images. Think about it. Cafes are popping up faster than classrooms can be built. Five-star restaurants are having their grand openings, while maybe just down the road, patients are in hospitals that are described as being near collapsed. It's such a powerful picture of just completely skewed priorities.
This next one, wow, this might be one of the most heartbreaking metaphors in the whole piece. The idea is that the very same scissors used in a big ceremony to cut the ribbon on a new mall are symbolically also being used to cut off the future for an entire generation that's facing massive unemployment. It's this gut-punch connection between the shiny object of consumerism and the real despair of the youth.
Now, you have to ask, right? How does a situation like this even happen? These kinds of contrasts don't just appear out of nowhere. The source is pretty clear. It argues this isn't about a few bad actors. No, it's a deep, systemic problem it calls a culture of corruption.
And the text's definition of corruption here is key. It's not a bug in the system, it's the system's actual operating software. Public service, it says, has been twisted into a kind of competition, a race of thieves in official suits, all operating right out in the open. And what's fueling this whole engine? Oil. The country's greatest natural gift has become its greatest curse. The ruling class is portrayed as having mastered a kind of dark art, not turning lead into gold, but turning the nation's black gold into personal fortunes tucked away in private bank accounts.
You can literally see this divide in the physical world. There are two completely separate realities. Inside the heavily protected green zone, it's described as a fully serviced paradise, totally isolated from the problems outside. And then there's everyone else, living in a world where just getting basic necessities like clean water is like winning the grand prize in a lottery.
So this brings us to the human cost of it all. I mean, what does it actually feel like to live in this reality, day in and day out?
Well, for starters, the most basic services are a mess. Electricity, according to the text, has become the running joke of the era.
Getting clean water isn't something you can count on. Nope, it's a seasonal dream, something you hope for, but you can never really depend on.
And human rights? The source claims they exist only as words on a page, recited for the news cameras, and then tossed aside the second the press conference is over. It's all a performance, not a real promise.
All of this creates an impossible trap for the average person. It's a total catch-22. If you stay quiet, you suffer. But if you dare to speak up, if you demand the rights you're supposedly guaranteed by the Constitution, you're beaten and humiliated for it. The source calls it a system designed specifically to just recycle oppression over and over again.
So where do you go from here? What is the way out? What are people even asking for? Well, the final section of the text makes it crystal clear that the demand isn't for miracles, it's for something much simpler.
I mean, just look at this list of demands. It's so telling, isn't it? Nobody's asking for palaces or private jets. The plea is for the absolute most fundamental building blocks of a functioning society: justice, clean water, power that stays on, a hospital that can actually treat you, a road that doesn't collapse under your car. Just the basics.
And that's where the source leaves us, with this really powerful, lingering question. A question about priorities, about how we even define progress, and really about the soul of a nation. When the biggest dream isn't about luxury, but simply about getting a safe glass of water to drink, what does that really tell you about the state of its republic?